Dr. Miracle in the Rue Morgue is guilty of 4 murders so far this week, and by now perhaps a 5th.
Dumpty fell a war, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again.
My old man may have sat on a wall, he slipped and had a very great fall. But I'm Humpty Jr., I'm just like my pop. I climb where I please and they can't make me stop.
Junior, come down from there.
Oh!
You be careful. That's how your father got cracked.
The moment you arrived, I had a feeling I'd never be content until we met. There never was an egg quite so appealing. Oh, won't you join me in an omelette? Whoa, spooning in a spoon. We don't need a moon. Poached or fried or on the side. Morning, night, and noon. Scrambled in a tune. Devil with a crew. In a cup, your sunny side up. Spooning in a spoon. Scrambled in a tune, devil with a crew. In a cup, your sunny side up, spooning in a spoon.
Scram!
It's chilly.
Scram! Spooning in a spoon, we don't need a moon. Poached or fried or on the side, morning, night, and noon. Scrambled in a tune, deviled with a crew.
In a cup, your sunny side up, spooning in a spoon.
The bloodthirsty butchers were mild-mannered people who couldn't stand blood or violence.
How's your sister?
See the butchers make love. See them at play. The butchers were usually quite careful in their work. But not always.
Oven's hot.
Should be.
Be careful of the hair. There was that hank of hair found in one of the last pies. Mustn't get careless, Tobias. We have work to do.
There are fun surprises for all the family. Watching the passion of the lovers made the butcher yellow with curiosity. Yellow with curiosity?
Good day to you, Mr. Busker.
Good day. I want a pie.
Your usual?
Yes?
Joanna, would you get me a cup of tea? It's going to cost you a little more.
Why?
You know very well why.
How much more?
2 shillings.
That's highway robbery.
Not when you consider the sauce.
Do I get the part I want?
Don't you always?
Yes, yes.
If you like the color red, then you'll love the bloodthirsty butchers. These are just a few of the lighter moments from the bloodthirsty butchers. See the whole bloody mess here soon at this theater.
Good evening, goblins and ghouls, and welcome to the Friday Night Scream Stream. I'm your host, Spakenstein, joined as always by my very good friend, Mr. Evan Sink.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness the union of your eyeballs and a public domain film.
A public domain horror film. Yeah, man, we are here for our first Friday of Shocktober. Oh, I don't have some kind of sound effect. I
You're the
need
sound
some kind
guy.
of sound effect queued up, something. I don't, unfortunately. But here we are, first Friday in Shocktober, bringing you a new spooky feature this Friday evening. I see we've got Fresh Rogan in the chat, Sweet Feet in the chat. Welcome, boys. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's episode. Really excited for our first Friday in October, and excited to have you back, Evan.
I'm back. I'm back. I ran halfway across the world, and I turned around and came back.
You did. You ran till your legs couldn't carry you. You almost beat Forrest Gump's record, but you just didn't get quite close enough. But
I don't want to be that guy. You know, if you run as far as Forrest Gump did, plus like 100 feet, you've technically got the record, but
yeah, I mean, who's really counting at that point, right? I mean, who's really keeping track?
Who wants to be the guy who beats Forrest Gump?
Right. Well, we're happy that you and your humble self could be back in the saddle tonight with us. It's been 3 weeks.
A long time.
I mean,
a while.
Even me just not doing the episode last Friday, I told Evan it feels like it's been a year since I've been.
So welcome to the new season.
So here we are, brand new revamp. No, it's same old Scream stream you know and love. Here we are, and it is. Tonight's film is right on par with everything that this show is all about. We've got, I mean, really, no, it's funny that we've really got something new for you guys tonight, but it's also an intersection of a lot of other things that we've talked about with past movies. So it's kind of a nice way to bring everything together as we get into spooky season. We got a really great movie lined up this evening.
All connects.
It always does. And this evening we are watching the 1936 adaptation of Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. That is the title of the film, and it is from Brendan. I see Sleepy Steve is in the YouTube chat as well. Yes, everybody's in the house. But Sweeney, this is the first sound adaptation of Sweeney Todd, and it comes from Britain, and it's your classic. Most people are familiar with the story of Sweeney Todd at this point. You've had the Sondheim musical, and you've had the Tim Burton Johnny Depp movie. I mean, so if you don't know about this,
if you don't know about it, well,
you're gonna find out.
We hope you're hungry.
Yeah, I hope you're really hungry.
Go eat something real quick and then come back and we'll watch the movie.
Something with plenty of meat in it, preferably. Something really meaty.
Some kind of pie.
You got some kind of like ground beef laying around. You just kind of fry it up in a pan. You don't even have to put anything on it. You could just eat the beef out of the pan. You leave it up to you if you want to drain the grease or not. And, you don't even have to put any seasoning on it.
I've heard the people who guard the palace over here. I hear that's what they eat.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, you want to get big and strong. You want to be a efficient guard. You got to be eating the right kind of meat, the right kind of protein, right? Special proteins, some might say. Yeah. So obviously the story of Sweeney Todd is murder and mayhem all set in Victorian England. So that's where we're getting in the Wayback Machine tonight. We're going all the way back to Victorian England. So,
serial killers just seem like they were a dime a dozen back then. Just a good environment for them.
Yeah, well, you got your serial killers, you got your grave robbers, you got all kinds of ghouls running around in Victorian England. That's a great thing. With all
a very spooky period of history.
All the fancy costumes and the
everybody's dressed like a ghost anyway.
Properness, yeah, it's just all a cover for this creepy, horrifying shit. And that's really what this movie is tonight. That's why I'm excited to show this, because it is creepy. It is unsettling. It has got atmosphere, and it's kind of it's a kind of horror movie, early horror movie that we don't get on this show. We've seen a lot of early 30s horror films, but I don't think we've had one from another country yet. So this will be our first one.
Yeah, and see what the other countries were up to.
Right, and Britain, not really a lot. We're kind of getting our introduction tonight into their one horror star that they had in the 30s and the 40s.
But they've got one.
They've got one. They do, and you could say he stands to rival Karloff and Lugosi, certainly.
The big claim.
He made a series of films in Britain throughout the 30s and 40s that really kind of cemented his role as primarily a villain, but definitely these movies, you can call them melodramas, you can call them thrillers, but there's definitely plenty of like horror to them that you can classify them as horror. But
is he kind of typecast as a bad egg?
Yeah, that's why we had that.
If you watch the cartoon,
that cartoon coming in, a bad egg, because he would, that he grew into that role. But we'll talk all about him and go ahead and tell you his name. He's playing Sweeney Todd. His name is Tod Slaughter. Real last name.
Great name. It's so good.
Great name if you're going to be a villain, right?
Yeah.
So Tod Slaughter. But we'll be talking all about him tonight, and we'll be talking about how he basically transitioned from stage to screen and all that good stuff. So pretty excited for this. And yes, we, as always, have a wonderful cocktail to pair with the evening's film, which Evan brings us after much research in a little segment which we call...
What were you drinking?
What are we drinking this evening, Evan?
Well, this week, as the temperatures outside are falling, so too are we falling into some autumnal flavors. This week's drink is called the Clean Shave. So this is, if you'd like to make this at home, it is 1 part apple brandy, 2 parts sweet tea, a dash of lemon juice, all served over shaved ice.
Fancy.
Yeah, so pretty simple recipe. This is based on a different similar recipe called the Close Shave.
Okay.
That I'm pretty sure also had sweet tea, which we haven't had yet in a drink.
Right.
And is not usually what I would like. I'm not usually thinking to mix sweet tea in my cocktail.
Right. It's not the from experience, it's not the best mixer, but I also don't think I was using the right kind of liquor either. I think we've got an interesting flavor pairing going on with tea and apple brandy.
Yeah, and I love this. I think we've only had the apple brandy one other time.
Yeah, do you know what drink that was?
I can't really remember off the top of my head, but I really like this stuff. It smells like Jolly Ranchers.
Oh, okay, yeah, like the green apple.
Yeah, like the
not
green
my favorite,
apple.
but yeah, I can smell it from here actually.
Okay, yeah, you know what I'm talking about then.
I know what you're talking about. And no, Steve, I don't need a shave. Okay, no, we're getting into the winter months over here. You got to be able to grow out a nice beard to keep you warm. I've cut off all my hair. I don't have much left. I've got to get the beard long enough that I can wrap it around my neck to keep my neck warm, so I don't have the hair anymore. So, but yeah, I can smell it's wafting
very fragrant.
over here. Yeah, it's very fragrant cocktail for sure.
Between we got the fresh lemon juice, the homemade sweet tea, of course.
And fresh, no, we're not drinking lean. I know, I don't think Evan would do that to me. I don't think he would.
Yeah, right.
Spike the cocktail. I hope not. But
wink.
Well, it smells delicious and it looks delicious in our special Shocktober glasses.
Our special Scream Stream branded.
Yeah, we gotta get a little
glasses.
We gotta get a little something on here to brand these for sure. We'll get there. We'll start selling merch soon enough, don't you worry. Well, it looks good. So
I think without any further ado, we'll give this a try. So cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
This is the Clean Shave.
Wow, that's
That's
like really interesting.
That's pretty good.
I'm
actually.
surprised how good it's like. Very. I don't have the proper words to describe this.
It
Like,
almost tastes like candy.
it's very full. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is like almost like a candy apple in a way. Like it's a very. You take a sip and it's very. I don't know.
Like I can taste everything in it, but altogether, it's kind of like a more than the sum of its parts kind of thing. I really like that.
I think that's a good way to put it.
Mhm.
Really more than the sum of. Yeah, I mean, it's really good actually.
That
But
one
it's
works.
definitely like having a Jolly Rancher
It
in
does.
every
Yeah.
sip, honestly. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, it's not usually when I'm making these recipes, my worry is like, yeah, I can maybe make it taste good, but is there enough, like, have I put enough alcohol in it? And this week I just didn't bother to think that way. And I think, when you can enjoy a little bit of brandy.
yeah, I think to
And
our benefit. Yeah, I think it's the good old fashioned way. That's I think the perfect way to get into tonight's movie, right? Have a kind of a nice, I thought they were mixing tea and well, British people.
maybe. I don't
Sounds
know.
like a British combination, doesn't it? Tea and brandy. A little bit of tea. Would you like some? Would you like some tea with your brandy? Yeah, no, it's. I think it's actually it's perfect. So, and it's really good. So,
Yeah,
if you're
very
drinking this at
refreshing.
home, then you're in for a treat. Very well done as usual, Evan. Yeah, I mean, especially for October, any kind of cocktail that tastes like a candy apple is pretty good. Yeah, pretty good drink to kind of get you in the fall
right time.
mood. Yeah, Evan, that does look like a very suspicious looking bottle of brandy. It does.
Mm.
Kind of brandy has a prescription label on the side of it.
Yeah, well, it's like back then. I'm sure your doctor would prescribe you some brandy.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Got to go to the apothecary to pick up some medicinal brandy.
well, I mean, that's about all you got back in those days. You don't have much medicine, so brandy's probably one of the better alternatives. I mean, God knows it's either that or break out the leeches. I don't know.
Would you rather have brandy, leeches, or opium?
Well, maybe a combination of all three. Maybe that's the golden solution. That just evens
We'll
you
cure what
right
ails you.
out. I'm sign me up for that.
Gotta even out all your humors.
Even on my humors. Yeah, Evan, I was gonna try to get you the chat for the YouTube because I know you don't have it. You can't see them chats. So actually, you know what, Evan? I've got an idea.
Okay.
Tell me where you want this.
Oh, okay.
Where do you want it?
A little to the left. Other left. And yeah, that's good.
Okay, because I can see it in mine. Okay, so now Evan's got the YouTube chat. He can see what's going on there, so that's good. Hell
What is
yeah.
up, everybody? Yeah, it before now it almost felt like I was
Missing out on.
well. It feels like this is a strange sensation I'm about to describe. It feels like I'm at two parties simultaneously, but I can't see or hear anybody at one of them.
You've got one person in the middle who's like kind of like.
I'm on like a weird, like extra dimensional shift
Yeah.
kind of thing. We finally evened that.
You're like
out.
just here. Wait, what? What's it? Yeah, no.
Yeah, somebody's talking to Garrett.
And then Evan's just picking it all up secondhand. He's doing the best he can. Well, now you don't have to, Evan. Now we got it all sorted out. So now you got the YouTube chat. Okay, I feel good about that. I definitely felt bad. Like that was one thing I meant to do tonight. Didn't do it for the show, so that's on me. But
we got it all figured out.
We got it sorted out. We're fine. Just in time, too, because we're going to be getting started with the movie very soon. Again, Sweeney Todd, 1936. I saw this for the first time like a year or two ago, and was pretty surprised, like, how much I enjoyed it and how just kind of surprised by the production values.
Were you familiar with Tod Slaughter before seeing?
I had seen his name. I think I had seen kind of his stuff on Wikipedia and kind of heard about him, but just didn't really. I hadn't seen any of his movies, so I didn't really have any frame of reference and didn't kind of know what if he was really good or not, because he basically slipped into obscurity and his films slipped into obscurity. And it's not really in the larger conversation of classic horror from this decade.
Well, luckily,
now
there's us.
That's why we're
our
gonna
job.
bridge the gap as we do.
We're gonna dig up this old body,
and courtesy of the public domain. Again, we're able to do, and I think that's why I probably saw his name in the first place, and kind of saw about this movie, was just knowing that it was in the public domain. And but I've kind of been curious, and so that's why I finally watched it a year ago. And I really, I was taken aback. So
okay. Splish splash, I was taken aback.
Yeah, and I've watched some of his other films since then, and they're all enjoyable. I mean, he is just, again, now we'll talk more about him as we go throughout the show, but I'll go ahead and tell you that he is like more of an overactor than Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, and Vincent Price all combined.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Choose the scenery to the max, because he comes from the stage, and you gotta act big for the people.
So this guy's got a set of chompers.
So he really does. You're gonna see him. He's just gonna be
hamming
it up, but to a genuinely to a creepy 11. Like, he's cranking it away all the way up to a creepy 11, without a doubt.
Okay, well, I'm intrigued.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm very excited for this. Sweeney Todd, great kind of Halloween time story. So it's nice to see this early non-musical adaptation. If I haven't given you that, there's no musical, there's no music. I hope nobody got their hopes up. No songs. It's not...
It's okay. We will attend the tale of Sweeney Todd anyway.
Is that a song reference I hear? Am I gonna have to flip this switch to turn your chair over backwards, drop you into the garage? I've got my assistant waiting there with a razor. So best watch your musical references there, Evan, because I will not abide by them.
We haven't got that song. You can't say that.
We don't have the rights. Yeah, this is a public domain show, Evan. The musical is not public domain. So, anything before we get into the exciting beginning of Sweeney Todd, Evan?
Does anyone have anything to
go? Yeah, go ahead, Evan.
If there are no objections to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace.
There it is. Well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting beginning of Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, right now. Tod Slaughter. Crazy, man.
Sounds like a used car salesman almost.
Come on down to Tod Slaughter's used European vehicle emporium. We've shaved our prices down so low. And there is a framing device to the movie, just to warn you, so you're not jarred, because it is a Victorian England story, but it will start with a modern day framing device. The gang's all there.
Somehow they're still open.
He really got dressed up to go get his haircut, didn't he? Dressed to the nines, dude.
You're just gonna get hair all over your suit.
Good day, sir. Good day.
It's already hard enough when you get them in your t-shirt and you can't get them out. What are you in that fancy
Lovely day,
suit?
sir. Quite nice. Quite nice. Toby!
Quite comfortable, sir?
Quite.
Getting a bit thin on the top, sir? We make up this tonic on the premises, sir. Have done for 100 years. Just a few drops.
No, thanks.
Classic Barber's always trying to sell you the product, man.
Tender, sir? There's only one brand of safety razor blade.
Keep 'em.
Certainly, sir.
I suppose you want to sell that too.
That is one thing I will never sell.
Not to me, you won't.
This is no joking matter, sir. That man was the greatest exponent of the razor the world has ever known. He was a true artist, and it was on this very spot over 100 years ago that he proved it to the world. His was the strangest story ever told in the days of sailing ships, the Pool of London, narrow streets, dark alleys.
Dude, this is your cue to leave. Do not get a shave from this man.
Barber, yeah. Don't let that guy get a razor anywhere near my throat, man. There is, of course, Mr. Slaughter.
All aboard, sir. Right up, Pelly. Give him a hand stowing. You mean aboard the ship, sir? Well, of course. Why not? Oh. Hadn't I better stay here with you, sir?
You getting slice. It is getting a
Joanna.
little slice.
Oh, it's wonderful seeing you again. I was afraid that last night's goodbye was...
Oh, I couldn't let you go without another word.
Your father. Does he know you're here?
Heaven forbid. What have you done to put him so against you, Mark?
Well, it's what I haven't done. It's because I'm poor, because my parents are poor, because I'm just making one of his own ships. Why, he despises me.
Hello, Pearlie.
Hello, Nan.
You know, I had a fortune told yesterday by Crystal Gazer.
Did you now? Oh, what did you see?
Your face.
Ah, perhaps it was something that had got into the glass.
Ah, Mr. Todd. Come to bid farewell to the Golden Oak?
Yes, sir. There's scarcely a man jack of that crew I haven't had in my barber's chair. Brown beards, black beards, red beards. I've polished them all up.
Ah, but it's when they return from their journeyings that they need you more.
Yes, I make them spick and span to meet their sweethearts. Lovely lot of throats, the lot of them. Beautiful throats, rich and mellow to a razor.
You're an artist, you are, Mr. Todd.
Don't you just love it when you see somebody who really loves their job?
You're right. Really passionate about their work.
Here's a list of things I want you to bring me back.
1 parrot, 5 pounds of tea, 30 yards of red Japanese silk. Here, where do I put all these things during the voyage?
A
in your
desk of
bunk.
Cheez-Its?
Then how can I sleep?
A desk?
I won't know that till I'm married to.
Well, there seems to be plenty of money in the barber's business. Well, up to you anyway, Mr. Todd. Good day.
I forgot to preface this episode by saying I hope you all practice your best Cockney accents.
Money? If
Yeah, I
only
meant to
had
ask
money.
how
What about the
cocky
money to
this
pay
movie
for all
was
these
gonna
things?
be.
Now, if I were a fine gentleman...
But you can
it's
see.
money that makes a gentleman.
Hey, for a gentleman.
Ooh, a gentleman.
Lummy, the governor.
Make way.
The governor. Oh, there it is, the governor.
I'm off.
Oh, give us a kiss before you go.
I'll add it to the list.
What's the meaning of this? What are you doing here?
I asked Joanna here to say goodbye.
Father, I came here because I...
Quiet, girl. Get aboard your ship, sir. You know my answer to you.
But I love Joanna.
How dare you argue with me? Get aboard, I say, or I'll have you thrown there.
Please go, Mark.
Goodbye, Joanna.
So much drama.
I'll have
Mellow.
something to say to you when I get home tonight.
Oh, sir.
Stop sniveling and get in.
What an ugly word, sniveling.
All right.
How can you tell who the bad guy is when everyone's dressed like a villain?
Cape, giant top hat.
This guy looks like
Mr.
the
Oakley,
penguin.
I was right. You were, Todd. How did you know she would be coming here? I guess, Mr. Oakley. It's a shame that a fine girl like your daughter should throw herself away. She will not throw herself away, Mr. Todd. I'm very indebted to you. Mr. Oakley, when will it be convenient to discuss again the matter we broached the other day? Ah, yes, about your taking up a share in the new ship. To the tune of, shall we say, £15,000? £15,000? Maybe I can find a little more. Well, and all the mess from beards and whiskers. The fruits of my razor. So many eyes polished up. Mr. Todd, are you dining anywhere tonight? At home, sir. Only at home. Will you try a cut of mutton and boiled fowl with me? Mr. Oakley, you are too kind. Fiddlesticks, I shall be glad of your company.
Fiddlesticks. Hadn't heard that one in a long time.
Mutton and boiled
There,
fowl.
there, Miss
Sounds
Joanna.
delicious.
Now the months will fly past and they'll soon be back.
I hope so. Well, there's nothing to cry about. No.
Ah, Mr. Beadle, so
Ooh,
you
you
brought
got
me another
me.
apprentice.
You got me.
And a nice
How's it
little
going?
boy,
Go on,
The
Sleepy.
city master says this is the last boy he's going to send.
15,000 pounds and growing every day.
Boys will be boys.
But you get a guinea from the parish funds with each boy. 7 guineas in 7 weeks.
And this is the 8th.
And the last.
You've already had 7 boys. Who's over here bringing this deranged barber
Now to
young
business.
children?
What's your name, my little man?
Tobias Ray. Orphan found on the steps of St. Dunstan's. Now, before you are bound in apprenticeship, the city master wishes to know if it is of your own free will.
No pressure.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, yeah, when you gotta choose
We
between
both bear witness that the lad is willing.
the creepy-eyed guy
Count
or
yourself a very lucky little boy.
basically the cop.
The city master
You're probably gonna choose
has
the creepy
ordered
guy.
me to keep a special eye on you.
Isn't he a lucky little boy? A special eye from the good beadle and a penny a day from me.
Now, if
I
you're signed
love his
here,
laugh,
Mr. Todd,
dude. That, you're gonna hear it so much. It's like
villainous.
Tommy Wiseau's laugh. You're gonna hear it that much.
I'm obliged to you, beadle.
well, good day, Tobias.
Good luck.
Good day, Mr. Todd.
Good day, worthy beadle. Oh, I should like to polish him off. Come here, Tobias.
So creepy.
Are you afraid of me, Tobias?
No, not really, sir.
Take care you don't give me cause to make you afraid of me.
I'll try to do my best, sir.
That's a good boy. The first duty of a barber's boy is to keep a still tongue in his head.
Yes, sir.
I knew a nice little barber's boy once who had his tongue cut out for letting it wag too much.
I won't talk, sir.
No. And if any of my customers should give you a penny, what would you do with it, Tobias?
I don't know, sir.
You'll give all the pennies to me and I'll keep them for you till you become a rich, rich man. You'd like that, wouldn't you, Tobias?
Yes, sir.
Polish
buy
him
if you
off.
were
You're gonna hear that a
rich,
lot
rich?
tonight in this scene. Yeah.
Oh, well, here's a penny. Go and buy yourself a pie and pretend you are a rich, rich man.
Pretend you're rich. You can afford to eat today.
You have a penny. You're the richest boy on this block.
Oh, I want one of those big penny pies.
What a coincidence. Just happened to be a penny.
I've got a big penny right here.
With that pie, these street urchins can feed themselves for a week.
Please, ma'am, may I have a penny pie?
Certainly you can, if you have a penny. What a nice new penny. Where did you get it?
Mr. Todd.
You
kindly
stole
lost it.
this.
So you are Mr. Todd's new apprentice?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you, my dear?
Just 12, ma'am.
Sweet child. You shall have a special big pie.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now. It's not so much what they deliberately tell you about the pies. I mean, everybody knows, if you know the story, you've probably seen different versions of it. In this movie, it's solely about the implication.
Okay.
Of what's
all
wrong
about the
with the pie.
implication.
Yeah, all about the implication.
So they're not gonna say it, but you know.
But they're like lingering just a little too long every time they mention the pies.
Why this visit?
I was anxious. I hadn't seen you all day.
No, I've been busy. Busy at the quayside.
No shipper's berth today.
The Golden Hope has just sailed.
Oh, Stephen Oakley's ship. Why the interest?
I may be joining him in partnership.
Hoity-toity, going up in the world.
Well, it's better than going down.
Many that go up come down quickly enough from the gallows.
By that, I suppose you mean...
I could hang you, Sweeney, with one word like that.
And I could hang you, my precious, without that. If we must hang together, better alive than dead.
Why all the care?
I'm dining with Mr. Oakley tonight.
And wish to give his women folk a treat.
Then you are jealous.
Only for what you do with your money. Our money. The money I have helped you to get, and I'll not have that squandered on a...
Damn, he finished that pie
What
quick,
are you doing
huh?
here? Spying?
That boy was hungry.
No, sir. But I thought as I'd finished my...
Why do you stare at me?
Please, ma'am. I left you in your shop and I was wondering how you...
Come here, Tobias.
He's just so creepy, man.
Is there a creepier way to beckon a
Once
child?
to a barber, whose eyes were too big, whose tongue was too long, who saw too much, and spoke of what he saw. So his master took his sharpest razor and stropped it well.
No, sir, please. I promise I won't say a word. Not even to the beadle.
I shouldn't like you to be a little boy like that, Tobias.
Damn, man. You thought your boss was an asshole.
I'm sure I look a fright. I hope I look a fright. Why should I dress up for Mr. Todd?
Oh, Miss Joanna, you look more lovely than ever.
Such flattery, Nan. For shame on you.
Well, look for yourself.
You'd win the heart of any girl.
No one could help you.
I love the cross-cutting here. Wow.
I suppose Father has some
You don't
business
get
deal
that a
with
lot
Mr.
in these
Todd.
old
No, it's got to be
movies.
It's
secret.
true, yeah.
Mr. Todd. Horrid vulgar pig, that's what he is. A pig.
Miss Joanna.
I brought the figures right up to date, sir.
Why has the cost of building this ship gone so high?
Forgive me, sir, but
Damn
I always
inflation.
thought the project a little ambitious.
Ambitious? Of course it's ambitious. Is it a crime to own the finest ship afloat? I tell you, savage, I'll finish that ship if it costs me every penny I have.
Well, as your
Why not
accountant, I
be
see
in
you're
the
spending way too much money on ascots and candelabras and fancy dresses for your daughter. We gotta cut all this shit out if you want the fanciest shipping.
The contractors are demanding an immediate further advance of £5,000. And I'm afraid, sir, that's not possible. You haven't got it.
Mr. Todd, sir.
Mr. Todd, I'm delighted to see you. I'm afraid I was still hard at work. This is Mr. Savage, my secretary, who has just come from the shipyard. What
Bro,
a
so
wonder
savage,
that new ship of
dude.
mine will be, Mr.
Savage.
Todd. Glass of sherry, sir.
Thank
Light or dark?
Dark, if I may be so bold.
And you've chosen right.
Duh. Man, just chewing it up.
Your health, sir.
Ah, Joanna, you've met Mr. Todd before, haven't you?
You are looking more lovely than ever tonight, Miss Joanna.
You're very kind, sir.
She takes after mean looks and her mother in willfulness.
Dinner is served, sir.
Will you take my daughter in, Mr. Todd?
Delighted.
He's so over the top.
I
love
know.
it.
It's great. It's such, a lot in the eyes and the. I mean, really, there's just a lot of leering.
Well, Captain
Much like.
Many thanks. A very pleasant voyage, sir. A deuced pleasant voyage.
Well, we've done our best to make you comfortable, Mr. Finlay.
And you've succeeded, Captain. A devilish quick voyage, sir. 3 months from Bombay to London. Remarkable. Remarkable.
Yes, sir. These fast clippers of ours make the world seem smaller every day.
Yes, it's grand to be home again. May I ask you to distribute this amongst the crew? A little appreciation.
You're very generous, sir.
Yes, I can afford to be. No need for me to work again. Well, good day, Captain, and thanks again.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome to England, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Pleasant voyage, I hope.
Deuced pleasant.
Permit me to present my car.
Man, even back in those days, giving out.
Sweeney Todd.
Whoa, okay.
Barber of Fleet Street.
At your service, sir. After months at sea, what could be more pleasant?
I'll never get
Haircut,
glasses.
shave,
I'll just
shampoo,
carry out a little
and a
magnifying glass in my pocket like that.
Gad, I believe you're right. Is your shop nearby?
Yeah, forget reading glasses. We need to bring those back.
Gad, Mr. Sweeney Todd, you shall polish me off as you put it. Here, take my traps and solid horse hotel.
You're the only one that says it this way. I don't know
No,
why.
Mr. Todd, I'm at your service.
No, sir. I'm at your service.
What a nuisance that is. You'd be in a bad way without it. And so would Mr. Sweeney Todd, I fancy. I dread that carriage drive with him this afternoon. I've a mind to say I know. We can't do that, miss. Now, think you'll be warm enough. I have 1, 2, 3 petticoats. Oh, you should never take the air in less than 5. Now,
What? 5 petticoats.
You've neglected to put on your red flannel. Now, that should go on first.
You'll
next to
catch your
pantaloons.
death.
Should I wear the chest protector, do you think? Oh, without a doubt, miss.
God, it
Right
must have been a
off.
nightmare trying to get ready as a woman back in those days.
That is
Jesus.
a protection against the cold.
Any person.
Yeah, everybody's just dressed in so many layers.
Why do we have him?
Provide employment for honest workers. This is my boy, a charity lad. Come here, Tobias. Just
A
tell the
charity
gentleman
lad.
where you'd be if there were no beards.
Back in the workhouse, I expect, sir.
There's your answer, sir. No, sir. Not there, sir. Sit here, sir. My special chair, sir. For gentlemen like you, sir. From abroad, sir. Who desire an extra polishing off. Just place your bag beside you, sir. It will be quite safe. There, sir. Been long from England, sir?
12 years.
Your friends and relations will be glad to see you back.
I've no relations that I trouble about, or who trouble about me.
Wow.
And friend?
None
Sweeney's
in this country.
getting lucky, huh?
All alone in the world, as one might say.
Yeah, this is kind of a gimme.
Not quite. I've brought plenty of companions with me who'll make me friends wherever I go.
I understand, sir. Golden companions, with the head of His Majesty on them, eh?
They're the best friends a man can have.
You are wise to keep them with you, sir. Banks can't be trusted. Is the soap to your liking?
Most delicately perfumed.
And the water hot enough?
Perfect.
Then we'll see if my razor will suit you. Tobias, go and see the time by the clock at St. Dunstan's.
It wants 5 minutes to 12 o'clock, sir.
Oh, then you must be hungry, my little man. See, here's a penny for you. Go and ask Mrs. Lovett to give you one of her largest pies.
Thank you, sir.
And you need not return.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is
See if you can make it last you
his
while you
favorite
walk
thing to say. You're going to
Charing
hear it
Crossing
many more
back.
times.
You've a soft heart, Mr. Todd.
Tender as a chicken, sir. It's my one weakness. Now see the welcome Sweeney Todd gives to gentlemen who return from foreign parts.
Eating it up.
Yeah.
There, my dear. This one will last you to Whitehall and back.
Wow.
Thank you, ma'am. Good day.
Good day, dear.
That's probably as much as they're gonna show of him, like, you know, getting ready to cut a throat, but I feel like it's
He
even...
makes up for it. I mean, he's... You really weren't kidding about his performance.
I'm gonna just set these aside for me. Real casual.
Nabob from the Indies.
Is he,
I polished him up upstairs.
I like them from the Indies. They generally have so much money.
Yes, generally. He's a fine figure of a man. You're in luck.
I wonder.
Well, I've done my part. Now it's your turn.
Aren't you going to help me?
No, I can't stop now. You can give me my half share later. I have to meet another customer.
In your best clothes, too.
Well, if I don't dress well, how can I attract the best customers?
Or the best girls.
Rubbish. I don't shave girls.
But you shave their fathers.
What are you talking about?
Stephen Oakley and his daughter. Do you think I don't know? Take care, Sweeney.
There. I'll be back soon, and I'll give you a hand.
Don't worry. I'll manage.
She knows.
Holding out on her.
And that is gonna take us to our first break. So, what do we think so far, Evan?
This has been pretty fun so far. Sweeney Todd is just, it's such a fun story. Just so gruesome and nasty.
Right.
And God, Tod Slaughter is killing it.
You can tell he's having the time of his life playing Sweeney Todd, obviously. I mean, a real meaty role for any stage actor especially, but yeah, you can tell he's having fun with it. And yeah, I mean, it's
diabolical.
Really, the laugh is my favorite thing. Like, he's perfected that, man. He has that so down. Yeah, and it's just it's cool to see. It's definitely a different kind of unsettling performance than you get from, you know, our American horror stars from the time period, but it's got its own creep factor and its own unsettlingness to it. But like you said, the story of Sweeney Todd itself is just like a very popular, timeless story. I mean, even up to this point, I mean, so I think it was originally a penny dreadful. It was published in 1846, and the next year there was a play written based off of it, and the penny dreadful was called The String of Pearls. It wasn't called Sweeney Todd, it was called The String of Pearls.
Okay.
And then the stage play was also called The String of Pearls, but the stage play was kind of responsible for centering the whole story around Sweeney Todd, where I think in the penny dreadfuls he was more of just like a character, but the play centers it all around Sweeney Todd.
Which, it sounds funny to me, because how could you tell the story without it centering around He seems like a pretty important character in the whole thing.
Well, I think that the Penny Dreadful probably leans more into the romance of the main couple kind of being the focus, and then Todd being on the side. Whereas here he is, I mean, it's pretty much been his show. And that's, again, this movie is based off the stage play, which that was written by George Dibdin Pitt, and that was 1847. So,
yeah, well, making it more about him is the right call. You think about these, all of these classic monster movies. I think Sweeney Todd counts as a monster.
Definitely. I mean, any kind of slasher maniac you would consider a monster.
Yeah, you think about like the original Dracula. I mean, it has, there's a love, there's the couple,
right?
But Dracula's really the star.
He's the main attraction. And it's good that you bring up, kind of make that parallel connection to Dracula, because I think that there are a lot of connections with, what Bela Lugosi is to Dracula, Tod Slaughter is to Sweeney Todd, and vice versa. Like, it's like these are roles that these two actors kind of
cement themselves into the fictional character.
Right. They really do. But Tod Slaughter, I mean, again, he didn't, much like Lugosi, it wasn't like a thing that he just immediately knew, I want to play villains. I'm like all in for villains. He first started on the stage in 1908, I believe. 1905. He was 20 years old, and he actually initially was playing heroes and leading men, right? And every once in a while, like meaty, as he especially started getting a little bit older, meaty character parts, not villains, but maybe like I think I read one thing that he played like a village idiot, or he played, he would play like other things, but he was also like had his own theater troupe. He would lease theaters and tour around, so he was very much kind of like running the show. And I mean, again, initially it was more. I mean, it was very much like melodrama, but I mean, he was playing leading men. And it wasn't until about the like mid-20s that he started to transition from the hero to playing the villain. And it was, in the early 30s, he was playing Long John Silver? Yeah, he was playing Long John Silver in an adaptation of Treasure Island on the stage, and he was also playing one of Burke and Hare, the grave robbers from England back in the day. There was some play about them. He was playing one of them, and he ended up getting the name Mr. Murder in like the trades and publicity like papers, billing him as Mr. Murder because he was like killing people on stage every day, basically. So kind of in the early 30s, that's when he fully made this transition into playing a villain, and a lot of these were old Victorian melodramas.
Yeah, it feels like it maybe should have been obvious in retrospect with a last name like Slaughter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, you would. if it was the Hollywood publicity machine, they would have had a field. They would have loved you. They were like, "This, you should just serve this up to us on a platter." I can't even believe like how great of a name.
He's named what?
Yeah, it's like you're. This is a joke. You're yanking my chain, right? No. His name is Tod Slaughter. He was actually born Norman Carter Slaughter.
Okay.
And then in the like late 20s. Changed it to Tod Slaughter because apparently Todd was a better stage name than Norman Carter, which debatable nowadays. Todd and it wasn't. He didn't change his name to Todd because of Sweeney Todd. He changed his name before he ever played Sweeney Todd, so it wasn't. That wasn't why. Like which.
Just in case you're
Just in case
wondering.
you might have made that connection. No. He just thought that was a better stage name. And then later on, I think it was in the early 30s that he started playing Sweeney Todd.
Yeah,
And
for a second, there was an early scene where I kind of forgot which movie we were watching, and they were calling him Mr. Todd, and I was like, "Wait a second,
Yeah, I was like,
that's his real name."
I'm confused. What's wrong? We're watching a documentary? What's happening here?
Is he breaking character
Yeah,
right now?
it's really is he? This is like another level of method. I don't know what's happening. Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, he basically was on the stage for almost 25 years before he first started making movies. And he really started playing Sweeney Todd just a few years before he started in films. And he ended up playing Sweeney Todd over 2,000 times on the stage.
Wow.
I mean, all the way up till when he passed away, he was still playing Sweeney Todd.
He had some practice.
He had practice. Again, he was just associated with the much like Lugosi, who up to the end of his life was touring around in stage productions of Dracula. We'll talk about it more. In the next break, we'll kind of get into Tod Slaughter's like film career. But we've kind of been talking about Tod Slaughter on the stage. So during the break, we're actually going to get a little. I guess it's basically a newsreel from the early 30s, British Pathé. And it's a little profile of Tod Slaughter. It's like 4 minutes, and it's kind of him running through the different stage villains that he was popular for playing. And a lot of these he would go on to play in the movies, but he really started, they started on the stage. And so I'm not 100% sure that this is public domain, but definitely using this within a fair use context, because Tod Slaughter is such a little known horror star. We have to get context for what his personality was in the British public at the time that he was acting. Like, again, to make the equivalent to Lugosi or to Karloff, we've seen the trailers. We've heard about kind of the publicity machines around those guys and their careers. But Tod Slaughter's was equivalent, and little newsreels like this illustrate his image to the public. The public thought of him as this boogeyman villain. So that's what this, and then there's another newsreel that we'll have for the second break, which it's kind of a similar thing, but it's more kind of related to his movies. But this one is kind of a little overview of the characters that he was known for playing on the stage. So we're going to do this little Tod Slaughter newsreel. And then when we come back, we'll get into the exciting middle of Sweeney Todd. So stick around. We'll be right back.
Plots, can you beat the old melodramas, where heroes were handsome, villains vile, and maidens modest? And who better to recall those spacious days than that great dramatic actor, Tod Slaughter?
Well, old man, you know they call you Mr. Massacre. Now's your chance to prove them right. You've got exactly 3 minutes in which to portray as many dirty dogs as you can remember from the dramas you've played in. So let's take a gentlemanly villain for the start. Sir Francis Levison from Mrs. Henry Wood's great drama, East Lynne. Upon my word, I can't make you women out. You're not guided by truth, morality, least of all by common sense. I offer you a yearly income, and you refuse. Well, goodbye, lady. I can't call you Lady Isabel Vane because you've been married. And I can't call you Lady Isabel Carlyle because you've been divorced. And I certainly shall not call you Lady Isabel Levison, for I was never fool enough to marry you. I hope you'll bring up my son to be a credit to his father. Well, I think this is a very unpleasant episode brought to a very satisfactory conclusion. That was usually the cue for hisses and catcalls. But can't you think of something a little more deadly? Why, of course. What about Squire Corder from Maria Martin and Murder in the Red Barn? Yes, he's rich and fruity. So jump into your clothes, Todd, of 110 years ago. Let's have a look at Squire Corder in his condemned cell at Bury St. Edmund's jail, 1 hour before his execution. Only another hour to live. Well, I'm glad of it. There'll be an end to all this suspense and torture. Wherever I look in my lonely cell, I seem to see Maria staring at me, as she stared at me the night I killed her, as she will stare at me until I die. Old greybeards tell us there is a hell beyond the grave. They lie. They lie. There is no hell like the hell of one's own guilty conscience. Yes, that was certainly better. What about something a little more blood-curdling, eh, Todd? Of course. That unctuous villain Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. So get into your clothes of the period and see Sweeney Todd outside his shop, waiting to polish them off. Oh, what a nice little boy. Come here, Tobias. Come here. Now, the first duty of a barber's boy is to keep a still tongue in his head. I knew a nice little barber's boy once who had his tongue cut out for letting it wag too much. Yes, and if you see or hear anything in this shop and breathe one word of it outside to a living soul, I'll not only cut out your tongue like the little boy I spoke of, I'll slit your throat from ear to ear. You have a beautiful young throat, Tobias. Oh, I should love to polish you off.
Plots, can you beat the old melodrama?
And we are back. So yeah, that was a little Tod Slaughter newsreel there for you, and recreating some of his famous stage performances.
Giving his classic catchphrase.
Yeah. I wish I could do it so good. He's so polish you off. Yeah, that's obviously doesn't really hold up super well nowadays. It's a little more of a euphemism for something else, but I mean, it's still, you know what he means. You understand what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
You know what he's no, it's pretty funny. I mean, that's the thing you gotta appreciate about these outdated melodramas, man. I mean, it's just such a weird kind of genre anyway, the melodrama. But when you got a guy slashing throats and they're again implying what they're doing with the bodies, and
which is it's not bad.
Yeah,
sometimes less is more. Sometimes you can just imply.
Yeah, I think this movie definitely works on the implications of what Sweeney Todd and Mrs. Lovett are up to, as opposed to really showing you. And I think in this case it actually works.
Do you think that this kind of relies on you knowing the story already? Because I feel like if I didn't, it might be a little confusing.
Yeah, I think it does. I think that and we'll get into it more in the second break, but this movie was basically made specifically for the British public, and obviously there'd be a pretty wide kind of pop culture like awareness of Sweeney Todd to just the everyday 1930s Londoner or British person, whoever, so I think it definitely, and I mean, I think nowadays, just because of, again, the musical, the adaptation of the musical, the movie adaptation, it's like, okay, most of us have some awareness. And so I think that helps, definitely having any kind of awareness. Yeah,
you can save a lot of time when you can just skip all the exposition.
Well, and again, like, this is based on an early stage play, and I think the later musical was based on a different stage play, which kind of gives Sweeney Todd more of a backstory and more of a sympathetic kind of, like, origin story. Whereas, kind of the early stage versions and this movie, it's,
he's just more of a bad
He's
guy.
just a villain. Yeah, he's just a straight up bad
Don't
guy.
overthink
You
it.
don't. Yeah, you don't need to feel sympathy for him. You want to. Yeah, they want you to just laugh along with him. You know, let's all laugh really creepily together. I think that's
you know
the
what they
takeaway.
say. You can't spell Tod Slaughter without laughter.
That's very good, Evan. That's amazing. Well, I think on that note, anything before we get into the middle of Sweeney Todd?
Ready.
All right, then we're going to go ahead and get into the exciting middle of The Demon Barber of Fleet Street right now.
I beg your pardon?
I didn't say anything.
You leave me to make all the conversation.
I like to be quiet sometimes.
He's not happy.
Pretty, isn't it?
Oh, it's lovely. Where did it come from?
The East Indies. It was left to me by a customer.
Pearls, rubies, and sapphires.
Pearls for
Yes,
your teeth,
technically he's right.
rubies for your lips, and sapphires for your eyes.
So is this the string of pearls?
Oh, sir, you
I believe
mustn't.
that it is.
But it's for you. I have your father's permission.
But to accept a gift like this from you,
Would
I...
inspire me.
Damn, that
with a
thing is
little hope.
glimmering.
Yeah, jeez.
The Golden Hope nears the African outpost of Trader Patterson. Okay. I think the movie's about to kind of divert a little bit here.
They call it the Cape of Good Hope. And now we pass it, I suppose we ain't got no hopes. I have, Pearlie. Ah, you're different. Your girl will love, honor, and obey you. Well, won't your girl? Well, I suppose we'll both do the loving, and I shall do the honor and obeying.
Wow, damn. It's not a good relationship, my guy.
Snowdrop. Yes, Master Patterson? They've started at last, Snowdrop.
Yes, Master? Medicine men tell him you're a big jar of firewater.
Aye, the drunken hound. I thought they'd been quiet all along. You slip away to the water's edge. The big ship should be here any time now.
Golden Hope, Master?
Aye, the Golden Hope. Get aboard somehow. Tell the captain to send help.
There's no time to give Sweeney Todd a backstory, but there is time for a whole African adventure.
Well, you know, you got to inject a little bit you got to get out of it stuffy Victorian England for a little bit. And, you know, out into the, you know, colonized Africa.
Oh, you're a pessimist, Pearlie.
Yes and no.
Yes, because you may be right, and no, because I don't know what it means.
Ooh.
Got him. Uh-oh. You better get inside, bro. That was good. That was nice.
Come on, get him there. Come on, bring him in board here. All right, Patty. Get him a ton of rum, Jim. All right.
Get him a ton of rum. A tug of rum.
Is that one of those old-timey units of measurements, like
A tug. A whole tug.
Yes?
Cafe Chief try kill him. Send me, tell you. Help.
And Mr. Patterson hold out?
Little while. You'll be quick.
Awesome. Aye, aye, sir. Serve out cutlasses.
What the hell? Look at this
We're going
guy,
ashore.
dude. Oh my
Aye, sir.
god, he's all
Yes, he goes,
fucking
huh?
tatted up. Holy hell.
Like a Mortal Kombat character.
Well,
Well, I'll come with you, sir. But
Damn,
sweetheart,
you don't
don't-
expect to see
I
that in
doesn't want to lose
a
you.
30s
Well, you've
British
got a
film.
wife, sir.
Fucking tatted
Well,
up
perhaps you wouldn't mind
sailor.
losing me. Still, all right. We'll go together. Come on.
Yay.
What a fight.
Yeah. That's what you get. That's what you get for celebrating too soon, dickhead.
Just slap him?
Seemed like it, yeah.
What is that?
Don't underestimate the power of a British person to slap, man. My God. Send you flying across the room.
This slap colonized half the world.
Oh, Jesus.
Comfortable there, old man? Now, let's see where you're headed. You want a drink of water?
Yeah. Inside my shirt.
I'll take a tug of water.
Bag.
Actually, just half a tug for me. I'm gonna die soon, so I'm gonna waste it.
Aye. Open it.
Huh?
Aye. I dinna ken what they're worth, but they're what I've worked for all these years.
These are the pearls.
They're no use to me now. Will you do me a service in exchange?
I want no exchange.
Can you do me a solid?
3 points north by northwest. That's where Rothsay lies.
Do a dying man a
What is it?
solid.
Captain, sir. What do you mean he's...
3 points north by northwest.
You're not writing these down. It's really important.
Are you getting this?
In the order, sir? Yes. Get the compass from the boat. Tell the men to dig a grave for 2 fellow countrymen. 3 points north of northwest. Aye, sir.
Someone pull up Google Maps.
Actually, I prefer Waze.
3 points north of northwest.
I'll be careful, buddy. You're gonna wear a hole in my
Weeks
coat.
and months slip by until I feel a little impatient. But I don't understand, Todd. You're getting the interest on your money, aren't you? Yes, but I was not thinking so much of the monetary interest. What do you mean? I mean Joanna is persistent in her lack of it. You are so much older than she is. Spring and autumn, as the saying goes. Those are often the happiest of marriages. The Golden Hope will soon be home, and then you can have your money in full. Do you suggest I await the return of the Golden Hope before I speak to your daughter? My dear fellow, there's nothing to prevent your asking her now.
He's tall.
As much to prevent her accepting.
He looks tall.
He
There'll
looks
be
tall.
still
Is it
more
just
to
the
prevent it
boots?
if the Golden
No,
Hope
I
is
mean,
here.
look, he's
What
he's
you
bending
suggest?
his knees. He's and hunched over. He's not even standing up as tall as he
But I
could.
can't, Todd. You
He's
know I
still
can't.
got like
Then the new
a
ship
few inches on
becomes
that
my
guy.
sole property.
He stood
You
up
can't.
straight. He'd
You
be
wouldn't. You can. Have you
looming.
ever looked
probably
at
around
me?
6 foot.
But I wouldn't if you were my father-in-law. But I can't answer for my daughter. The girl has a will of her own. Then you must cultivate some powers of persuasion. She's a good girl, a dutiful daughter. And when she knows her father's future is in her own hands, at so small a cost to her, can you doubt what her answer will be? Mr. Todd, you place me on the rack. No, sir, it is you who place me on the rack. I am the offended one, sir. And it is up to you now to make amends.
Oh, Mr. Todd, I thought you'd gone.
But just about to take my leave. Your father and I had so much to talk about. It delayed me. Tomorrow at the latest, I must have your answer. Then I shall know what steps to take.
I do love the hunching over.
Yeah, like
It adds to it.
I mean, yeah, it definitely makes you look more evil if you're.
A little worried, my dear, that's all.
Ghoulish.
About the
Yes.
new ship,
I'm afraid I've bitten off more than I could chew.
what'll
She's
happen?
never
Mr.
gotten
Todd,
into business with Sweeney Todd. Yeah,
She'll
you
pass it out of
idiot.
my hands into his.
Mr. Todd?
Yes. And I shall still owe him more than I can pay.
What will happen then?
I'm afraid all this must go.
And you, Father?
I expect I shall have to go with it.
You mean he can send you to prison? Oh, can't anything
Go to
be done?
debtor's prison.
Haven't you anything you can realize money on?
That necklace.
No, nothing.
Oh, come on. Do it. The necklace doesn't mean shit to you. He did give her that necklace, right?
Yeah.
How diabolical. Mhm.
Congratulations.
On what?
You look at least 2 years younger. In fact, you scarcely look a day older than her own father.
You've heard of my good fortune, eh?
Bad news travels fast.
Oh, I should like to polish you off.
I know you would. But you daren't.
Lisa, I've got news. The Golden Hope.
What about the Golden Hope?
She's coming up the river with the tide. A postboy told me. He passed her by the Isle of Dogs not an hour ago. Lisa, you're hurting me.
You are a good boy, Tobias. You shall have a penny.
Thank you, sir.
A little later on.
But not now, not now. Classic villain. Kid, he's just missing the twirly mustache. That's all he needs.
Couldn't I come ashore with you, sir? Carry bag or something? What are you so anxious to go ashore for? Well, you seem to forget. The captain's job's finished once he's berthed his ship. The supercargo's job's only just begun. But get on with it, man.
I guess you
I'll
can do
tell her
this
what
if you
an
don't
important
have a
fellow you are
mustache,
nowadays.
right?
Yeah, you gotta stroke the chin.
Pardon me, but isn't it Captain Mark Ingerstry?
I'm afraid you overstated, sir. Acting captain.
Let's hope your new rank may be confirmed, sir. Not only for your sake, but for the lady as well.
You seem very well informed, sir.
There's not much escapes me.
Yeah, look at how much
Doubtless
he's
you know
hunched
me
over to the
by
other
name.
guys. Like, he's probably
Sweeney
taller
Todd,
than
Barber
that
of Fleet
guy.
Street. Why, of course I know the name, and I'm very pleased to have made your acquaintance.
His
And now, if you'll
shoulders
excuse me-
come up
On
higher
wings
and
of
he's
love,
hunched
if
over.
I might use the expression.
Other
Well,
guys
perhaps
are
you're right.
as
You
straight
should
as
look your
possible.
best, Captain. Don't you think so?
Mm-hmm.
Of course you should. Don't be shy. It won't take a minute.
Well, the quicker you are, the better I'll be pleased.
No, sir, no. The better I shall be pleased.
So, you know, his whole setup
Oh, Miss Joanna! Oh,
Kind
such
of
good news! What is it, man? The
relies
Golden Hope
on
is in!
them never
and
screaming
Mr. Markham
as they
might
fall
barely is safe and sound.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah,
that
that's
barber
true.
shop is soundproof.
Well, I mean, I guess Mrs. Lovett is next door, so
Mr. Mark's been made captain.
if you're on,
I'm
like,
supercargo, and
you
Mr.
know,
Mark's a rich man, so
the
he can't
edge,
get
if you've
married
only
or
got that
get
one neighbor, maybe.
As long as nobody's walking by outside.
You're handy for the key here, Mr. Todd.
I'm handy for most things, Captain. When I've finished with you, you won't know yourself.
Well, I hope Miss Oakley will know me.
That's a good one. I couldn't have said it better myself. But come inside, sir. Come inside. Do not sit there, sir. My chair is waiting for you.
I love this basement set. It's
Successful voyage, Captain?
More than successful. My future is made.
You're a lucky man. Successful trading, eh?
Know anything about pearls?
A little.
Well, have a look at these. They were given me by a dying man.
I wish it were my fortune to meet such a man.
You may do. You never know your fate.
You're quite right, sir. You never know your fate.
Fate has made me the happiest man in the world. Nothing can stand in my way now.
Oh, no rival or anything?
Not the least chance of it.
Then you are indeed a lucky man. You have a beautiful throat for a razor, sir. Beautiful.
You should know, Mr. Todd.
I do. Finished, Tobias? Yes, sir. Come here, Tobias. Here's a penny. Go and ask Mrs. Lover to give you one of our biggest pies. One that will last you to Aldgate Pump and back.
Thank you, sir.
Why do you lock the door?
I only attend to one customer at a time, sir. And as you are in a hurry, I must give you my whole attention. Lie back, sir. Lie back. I'll soon polish you off.
I mean, he screamed.
He did scream.
Gotta look at them pearls, dude. Uh-oh.
What are you doing, spying again?
No, sir. Mrs. Lovett's shop is closed, sir.
Oh. Where's the penny I gave you?
Yes, sir.
That's a good one. That's what
Oh my God!
Don't know what that told.
That's a big fat
Powerful
yikes.
British slap.
Jeez. What? Where did it go? That was good.
What are you doing here? Why is your shop closed?
I thought you had a customer.
Have you seen him?
No.
You swear that?
Of course I swear.
Strange.
Very strange. Some sailors fall like cats on their feet.
Who told you he was a sailor?
Your best customers always are, aren't they?
If he gets away, we're lost.
Perhaps he found the secret way.
How could he?
The catch is loose. Sometimes it opens on its own.
Oh.
Can you see anything?
No, it's as dark as pitch. Give me that candle.
As dark as pitch. What is pitch?
It's like flammable resin or something. You put it on a torch.
Whoa. Okay. I've never heard of that. Look at you over
It's
here.
like tar. It's like black.
Okay.
Very
You learn
wise.
something every day.
Nothing like making sure.
Secret passageway.
You gotta love a good secret passageway, man.
Creeping around.
Well,
No sign of him. Expect he's safely back on the Golden Hope by now.
the Golden Hope, Mark Industrial ship.
I believe you knew it was he.
How could I? Mark industry. Oh, then you had a double reason to.
The sooner you learn to keep your mouth closed, the safer you'll be.
The course of true love never did run smooth, so they say. I've heard he's returned a very rich man.
Maybe, but he left here a pauper. I saw to that.
Oh.
He'll have as much chance with Oakley's daughter now as he had before he sailed. He'll find it best to make himself scarce.
And where's my share of what you took from him?
Don't worry. You'll get it.
My head. My head.
Shh! Don't make a sound. He may return at any moment. Lie still where you are, and when it's dark, I'll see that you get away.
Damn, look at her. Mrs. Lovett has a heart.
I'm tired of making meat pies.
And that is going to take us to our second break. So, 2/3 of the way in, what are we thinking, Evan?
Well, we've been on a bit of a journey.
We've been all over the place, haven't we?
Yeah. So maybe just a recap. So we were in Africa. We had the dying man give this guy some pearls. He's come back
rich. So come back with some pearls in his pockets. And of course, Sweeney Todd swooping in, opportunist that he is. Very, very good. As soon as the boat comes in, he's like, oh yeah, it says my boat is about to come in as well as soon as I rob these people.
Okay, so S-Sync, do you think she's after the pearls?
Well, I mean, he has been robbing from her technically for a long time, cutting her out. So he's
holding out.
She's due for her due. She deserves it. And if she's got to swindle him to some degree to get what she deserves, hey, I say go for it. But we'll see. Yeah, I mean, Mrs. Lovett, I mean, you got to love that she's, helping out the young couple, right? Which again, I mean, as we talked about,
well, there's a young couple.
There's a young couple. It's got to all work out for them. It's all so. But I mean, again, audiences, you know what you're getting with this kind of Victorian melodrama story. You've got your hero, you got your villain. By the end, hero will succeed, villain will be vanquished. They all lived happily ever after. Classic, So these movies are no different. And I mean, it was basically like Tod Slaughter figured out on the stage that these characters, these plays were popular with a general audience, a working class audience, and a aristocratic audience. I mean, he just realized that there was, because
he's bridging the gap.
Yeah, I mean, he really was with these kind of, his people did like these kind of, they were, this was referred to in one thing I read as a blood and thunder melodrama, right? People like, I mean, because this basically comes, and the play and Tod Slaughter, the kind of actor that he was, and basically this adaptation comes out of the traditions of music halls. And, in England, the music halls and the stage were kind of, in a way of, you could have the most common peasant sitting in the theater with some, lord or lady in, some special part of the theater. And they're all just part of the same audience, right? It really was kind of a, like, the music halls and the theaters were always a middle ground between the classes in England. And I mean, I think Tod Slaughter saw that when he did the plays. But it was basically, it was a producer and the producer and director of tonight's film, George King, who realized, oh, Tod Slaughter needs to be making movies of these plays. But it was kind of the perfect storm that led to this series of movies that they did together, because they made multiple movies together. But basically what it was, George King was known as King of the Quickies. And I'll explain that, because there was a thing at the time in England called quota quickies. And basically what this was, how it all came about in, I think it was 27. Yeah, in 1927, there was an act of Parliament that basically stated that movie theaters had to show a certain quota of British-made films every year for 10 years.
Okay.
And it was done to try to revitalize a declining British film industry, because there was a lot of obviously American movies were popular everywhere. So a lot of different countries ended up putting laws in place like this that mandated that a certain number of movies distributed in the country had to be produced in the country.
So it doesn't have anything to do with people getting polished off in the movie theater.
No. Even though the word quickie certainly might lead you to think that, polish off definitely goes well with that. But no, it was really just the fact that in order to meet this quota, you had producers that were making movies really fast, really cheap.
We're just pumping those numbers up.
Low cost, low quality, high investment, basically, or high return on investment. Low investment, high return on investment. Very similar to Poverty Row and the movies of Poverty Row, which we've seen on this show.
Yeah, we know this scheme.
We know this scheme. You make it really fast, you make it really cheap, and you're guaranteed to see a return on investment. And George King basically made a bunch of these kinds of movies, but he made a series of Tod Slaughter films that were basically fit the definition of a quota quickie. They were made fast and cheap, but they still have some flair to them, as you can tell. Even though, if you compare this to any Poverty Row movie that we get here on the show, especially from the 30s, you can kind of say, well, there's a little bit more depth here than what you get with those. And this was actually the second movie that they made together. The first was based on a stage play where he had played a villain. It was called Maria Martin, or Murder at the Red Barn. Murder in the Red Barn. That was the first movie that they made. Then this, and they made 3 or 4 other films together.
It really doesn't feel like a cheap movie, though.
No, right?
Comparing it to the Poverty Row kind of schematic,
it doesn't seem that cheap, right?
Yeah.
No. And it was filmed actually at Shepperton Studios, which is a big British film studio, which is still around today. And it was only 4 years old at the time of this movie's making. But I think it certainly benefited from filming at that studio. But apparently at that time, a lot of quota quickies were filmed at Shepperton, and they definitely put some production value. We've seen it in that secret passage sequence in the basement. There's obviously,
and all the jungle stuff. There's quite a few sets they've put together here.
Yeah,
they managed to get the chair to spin around. Somebody had to figure that out,
right? Which again, you got to think if you're getting Tod Slaughter in on this, you had to have some way to do it in the stage play, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So, but I think in the stage play, it was probably just more of like a trap door, which somebody dropped down and you can't see them anymore, versus something that spins like that, which is definitely more cinematic, I think. And they had actually already made. There were 2 other film adaptations of Sweeney Todd before tonight's film. They were both silent. This was the first sound adaptation. And yeah, George King just kind of knew what he had. And, that was kind of how Tod Slaughter became as he was billed when tonight's movie was released in America, the horror man of Europe. That was what he was called. Again, trying to kind of make a comparison to Lugosi and Karloff, the horror man of Europe. Our American horror men, obviously, Lugosi, Karloff, Chaney. And so that, of course, we've got another newsreel of Tod Slaughter lined up, British Pathé newsreel. And this one is... it's kind of funny. It's done as like somebody's going to interview Tod Slaughter at his house, but it's just like a fucking torture chamber with all these guns and knives and all these different things from his stage plays.
That's fun.
And yeah, so it's a cheesy little thing, but again, it's all fair use, talking, kind of giving you an idea of the image of Tod Slaughter as the British public understood it at that time. Like the fact that he was this horror man on par with Lugosi and Karloff. The British public saw him that way, and of course, he didn't get that kind of reputation here in America, but I think it's definitely due. I think we've seen his talents on full display so far, and in our exciting conclusion, we'll see how he gets after it. So we're gonna get this little newsreel, and then when we come back, we'll get the exciting conclusion of Sweeney Todd. So stick around, we'll be right back.
I'll soon polish you off.
Trade slack. Not a single customer today. I pine for something exciting to happen. So I'll just put a beautiful edge on my beautiful razor in case someone happens to come in. Oh, what a beautiful knife. That's the knife that Mrs. Lovett used in her pie shop before I polished her off. And this is the pistol with which I shot Maria Martin in the Red Barn. Ah, poor Maria. I was very fond of her. I did a lot of useful spade work there. And this is the news with which they hang Jack Shepherd at Tyburn. What do you desire, sir? A polish off?
Mr. Slaughter, I've been sent by my company to take a screen interview of you.
Oh, won't you sit down, sir?
Thank you. Now, what about Sweeney Todd?
This is his very chair that you're sitting in, sir. No, lie back, sir. Lie back.
What do you do in your spare time, Mr. Slaughter?
I spend my spare time evolving new methods of murder. I've tried them all. But from this very seat, I've sent hundreds to their death. Ah, don't be afraid of a little drop of blood, sir. The ceiling leaks. You'll get used to that in time. Thank you, my dear. That's just what I wanted. You're a pretty girl. Remind me to strangle you this evening.
Thank you, sir.
You must have got into the wrong film by mistake. But she's got nice eyes, eh?
Yes, she has got nice eyes.
Excuse me. Here's a souvenir of one of her nice eyes. Ah! No? Then perhaps you'll have a cigar to soothe your nerves.
It's murder!
No, not murder. Just slaughter. Tod Slaughter.
That was amazing.
And that's the end of the movie.
And that's it. And that's how it ends. That's everything. I loved that. What a great little promo just for Tod Slaughter, right? Just at home, being himself. That was
doing his thing.
Some good little gags in that newsreel. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, we were joking about him doing comedy, but there you go.
I mean, again, you come out of the stage, you obviously have an awareness of, if you're bringing a lot of theatricality to a role. And so, you lean into it. I think he obviously knew how to lean into it. And again, his film career, I mean, he only total was in 22 films. And only about 5, 6, 7 of those are close to being like horror films. But I mean, he continued to play these characters on the stage the entire time up until his death in 1956 at the age of 70. And it just, again, it strikes me that his career has so many parallels with Bela Lugosi. Just in that, not in that way of, I didn't find anything about addiction or any negative stuff personally, but just in the sense of you have an actor who becomes really highly associated with one character that they got great acclaim for playing on the stage. In a certain way, they get typecast in the similar kind of roles for the rest of their career, which again, I think Lugosi lived until 55 or 56. They both became stars later in life. We were watching a little bit of Dracula before we started the show today, and I was telling Evan, Lugosi didn't make Dracula until he was in his 40s, maybe even late 40s.
Yeah, I was remarking how young and vital he looked in that movie compared to how we've seen him a lot on this show.
Yeah, and still, I mean, he didn't find stardom until later in his career. Again, like Tod Slaughter, he started out on the stage, kind of really played a wide variety of roles, and then later in life kind of got associated with one type of role as he transitioned to movies, kind of got typecast in that role, and then, kind of passed away. And in Tod Slaughter's case, really faded into obscurity. But I do think that, Tod Slaughter still kind of was more, probably a little more accepting of it, because again, we're talking melodrama. We're not talking monster. There was really, I think there's a fine line there. There's obviously a difference between what Tod Slaughter does and what Lugosi does, but there's definitely a lot of parallels.
Yeah. Now, Dracula compared to Sweeney Todd, the character, Sweeney Todd's more obscure than Dracula for sure. How much of Tod Slaughter do you think gets left on the character in the same way that like a lot of Lugosi after Dracula, Lugosi kind of just becomes the image of the vampire.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that quite happened with Tod Slaughter and Sweeney Todd. I think that obviously the musical is kind of more of the cultural touchstone in terms of people's awareness of Sweeney Todd nowadays. I mean, I think that's all. It's some cultural touchstone. It's always there's one particular adaptation of a thing that will always stick in most people's minds of this is just what I think of, you know. Obviously it's the same way with Frankenstein. You know, everybody thinks of Frankenstein's monster a la the monster from Frankenstein 1931, right? You know, that is Lugosi and Dracula. I don't know that Tod Slaughter and Sweeney Todd are that
Didn't
way.
exactly happen though.
And I think that's probably why he has remained a little more obscure, because at the end of the day, his characters are, you know, just villainous men. There is he did some other movies that are maybe closer to horror. He did a movie called The Face at the Window, which I believe it's a Wolfman movie. They kind of like, it may be one where at the end it turns out it's not really a werewolf, but it's most of the time it's playing like it is a werewolf, and there is like a really creepy face like monster in it, and he's good in it. And we'll get to see that at some point. And that was also directed by the director of tonight's film, George King. And then there was a movie that he did in the 40s, which wasn't directed by George King, called Curse of the Raidens, and he plays Spring Hill Jack, which I don't know anything about.
Another obscure British character.
Yeah, again, I don't know anything about it. Definitely obscure. I don't know any. There ain't no famous Spring Hill Jack musical. But so I can't say that I'm as familiar with Spring Hill Jack, but I have heard of him, and that was just kind of another kind of role in the repertoire of villains that he had, and we will see more of him. But this is our introduction, so we'll see how
great introduction.
We'll see how he closes it out as Sweeney Todd. Again, I'm not super familiar with the musicals. I don't know how it normally wraps up, but I don't know. What are you thinking, Evan? How do you think?
Well, the couple's gotta make it out. So how do we connect the dots from there? I'm hoping that, what was the guy with the Captain Crunch hat? Was his Button? Was that his name?
Button?
I thought somebody called him Button.
Maybe. I don't even remember the guy with the... Oh, yeah, what is it? It's not Button. I know what to... It's something, because when they were saying it, I was like, so weird that's his name. I can't remember what it is.
I hope he comes back. I want to see him whack somebody with that huge cane.
Giant fucking
giant
mace
thing.
or what? Yeah, I mean, that's
medieval.
Yeah, it's wild, dude. I would love to just be walking around with that. Like, what do you just like point at people? Like, what is the practical purpose of that? Like, I guess if you're in charge of a bunch of children, maybe that comes in handy. Like, you just hurt them with your... You know, it's just like a shepherd's cane.
Yeah, you shepherd all of the orphans through the Victorian alleys.
Well, yeah, Victorian times, because if you don't, then they're gonna run off and become street urchins, and you don't want to be responsible for that mischief. God knows. Yeah. Oh, you gotta love Victorian England and the Cockney accents in it. You gotta love it. Mine's not very good, but you gotta love it.
It's a little love it there.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta have fun with it, right? I mean, we've heard some.
I love it.
Don't we all? I think anything before we get into it, Evan.
I'm hungry for the ending.
Well, let's go ahead and not to derail too much, but what the hell is a meat pie? Like, it really, like,
it's like a British thing.
Is it just meat and pastry?
I think so, right? I think it's like, I imagine it like how, you know, if you get like a single serve chicken pot pie or something.
Yeah.
Kind of like that, maybe.
But like, well, kind of like a Hot Pocket, right? Like
Yeah,
you hold,
sure.
yeah, like
Yeah.
maybe
Like a Victorian Hot
a
Pocket.
Victorian Hot Pocket. So like bigger, obviously more like a round instead of the. Why don't they make them like round Hot Pockets? Make them like Uncrustables, you know?
Yeah.
Why we gotta have
That's our takeaway from this episode.
That's what I've learned.
Hot Pockets should be round.
Hot
Pockets should just be a pie.
Yep. Big takeaway. Hot Pocket pies.
All right, somebody get at
Scream
Hot
Stream. That's gonna be a part of the merch line. We're gonna be getting into the frozen food game because that's where the real money's at. We all know. So don't
We're
worry.
gonna crack this Hot Pocket thing wide open.
Meat pies. It's just like a Hot Pocket, but filled with ground beef. And
yeah, we promise.
Maybe put a little cheese in there.
Yeah.
We've
We've got the special meat.
Yeah. You know what I bet in England? You know what? I bet they do put other things in meat pie. You put some mashed potatoes in there too. Cheese. It's just like one of those bowls that you get now that has mashed potatoes and chicken and corn and you put cheese in there.
So it's somewhere between a KFC famous bowl and a Hot Pocket.
We are going to get there, folks.
You know, honestly, though, compared to like what kind of filler was probably being stuffed in those meat pies back then, is human flesh really that bad?
Again, superior protein, probably, more than likely. You want to really get... Yeah, shepherd's pie. And yes, S-Sync. That's what we're talking. But
we
no
need
vegetables.
We need somebody British in the audience to school us on what a meat pie really is.
Any of our viewers in the UK, if you see this episode later on YouTube, you want to... Yeah, anybody across the pond wants to...
shoot up a flare, just hail down your nearest British person.
Screamstreamshow@gmail.com. Give us all the lowdown on your meat pies, because we're really lacking.
I want to say they used to make them with eels too.
Good eel.
They used to eat a lot of eels.
Okay, a little bit of shock to your. Okay, I like that eel pie. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out what's in these pies. I don't think we will. We know what's in these pies. We already know.
I want to know what's in these pearls. Where these pearls go?
They're fakes. They're knockoffs. They're not real. It's gonna be.
And that's how they get out of it.
Take them to the jeweler, and it's like, yeah, you've been had. So, well, I think Evan, if you're ready,
I'm ready.
Without further ado, we're gonna get into the exciting conclusion of Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street, right now. British Bake Off. Yeah, that's exactly. Pay no attention to the PG-13 in the top left corner. You want to know why your father's going broke? It's all this. You gotta have curtains for your bed frame and sequined nightgown.
Where have you been? What kept you from me?
Listen, Joanna, I left the ship the moment it was berthed. I couldn't come to you soon enough to tell you of my wonderful fortune and how rich I was. But on the way, I stole a few moments at the Barber in Fleet Street.
Sweeney Todd?
Yes, that's the man. Why, do you know him?
Yes.
Yeah, he's trying to get my pants.
Well, I was sitting in his chair. He knew I was in a hurry because I told him all about you.
You told him?
Well, of course, darling, why not?
Oh, nothing.
Well, all of a sudden, the chair tilted and I was flung into blackness. I must have crashed into the cellar below. I never remembered anything more until a woman who I'd never seen before helped me out of an old bin through a hole in the wall of a bakehouse. I stumbled along a passage At last I found myself in the porch of St. Dunstan's church.
Oh, Mark, that dreadful man. He would have murdered you. I know he would.
Yes, well, he's robbed me of everything that I had. I'm in no better position now to talk to your father than I was 6 months ago.
And my father, too, is in terrible trouble. This same Sweeney Todd can throw him into prison and threatens to do so unless I...
Damn, he's just got a stranglehold on everybody.
Who's there?
I thought I heard voices. Are you all right?
Yes, Father, I'm all right.
Good night, dear.
Good night, Father. Go there.
Listen, Joanna. I'll get even with this man. I'll have him arrested as a thief and a murderer.
But who will believe you? You say you remember nothing. You must have proof of what he did.
Yes, I must. But I'll get it. There is a way, but I'll need help.
Oh, let me...
No. This will be dangerous. Listen, can you get hold of Pearlie?
Well, Nan will know where he is.
Well, tell him to meet me at the old warehouse on the quay. I'll be there.
Mark, take care. For my sake.
I promise you I will. And when we've got this man under lock and key, I'll get those jaws if I have to pull that shop down to do it.
Pull it down? What are you gonna... How are you gonna...
I will
What are you gonna...
tear down this establishment board by board.
Oh, yeah. Sharpen that up real nice.
Good morning, Mr. Todd. Good morning, Mr. Parsons. So you received my note, eh?
I did. And what is it this time? Not that I fancy I shall be able to buy. The market in trinkets is very poor. And I have not yet disposed of the last consignment that you received from abroad.
Oh, then I'm wasting your time and mine.
Oh, my time is of no value. You don't appear to have much on hand yourself.
Well, shall we get to business?
By all means. And what is it you have to dispose of? Pearls. Oh, no market for them. The fashion in settings has changed.
But these are
Out of
not...
fashion. Pearls up.
Oh, straight from abroad.
I don't inquire from you what you do with the goods you buy from me. Why inquire where I get them?
Why, to be sure, that is the basis of our business contract. And may I see these pearls?
Certainly.
Nice.
There you are, Pearlie. How do I look?
You look exactly like an old country farmer, but you still sound like Mr. Mark.
I do know. Well, we'll soon put a stop to that.
That's fine, sir.
Terrible accent. Sounded exactly the same.
Matched so beautifully. The sizes graduate so evenly. In the open market, they would fetch a handsome price.
Oh, that's splendid news.
Yes, you recollect I said the open market. We are behind closed doors.
Certainly.
The
Under the
black
circumstances.
market.
What do you suggest?
5,000?
You'll have to do better than that, Mr. Parsons.
With pleasure, Mr. Todd. Shall we say 7,000?
You are easier this morning, Mr. Parsons.
No, sir. You are easier.
Have you the money on you?
The question is, if you have the money on you.
Meaning?
I consider £7,000 a very small amount for you to pay me to remove the evidence against you.
Evidence? What evidence?
A certain sea captain, who shall be nameless, arrived at the docks yesterday. He was seen to enter this shop, but never to...
Bro, you are
He had a bag of pearls,
playing
Mr.
with
Todd.
fire right now.
I'll take the 7,000 in gold, if it's all the same to you.
You are humorous this morning, Mr. Parsons.
Now, the fine weather brightens our senses.
Do you mind waiting while I laugh?
By all means, don't cut it short for me.
Won't you take a chair while I have my laugh out?
No, Mr. Todd, I will stand and laugh with you.
I pray you, sir, take a seat.
Beg you, sir, to take your hands off me. I see you have had your laugh out. Now let us get to business.
What do you suggest?
I will take the pearls with me and 7,000 golden sovereigns, or...
Or what?
I'll tell all that I know.
And what do you know?
Firstly, I will tell the landlord of the Spotted Horse why Mr. Finlay did not arrive to collect his luggage. Secondly, I will tell the city master why you had 8 apprentices in 8 weeks. And thirdly, I will tell
Damn,
Mr.
I didn't realize he
Finlay-
went through him that
And what will you
fast.
tell him?
I will
Don't
tell
set
him
off any
what
alarm
happened
bells?
to the captain of the Golden Hope after he left the quay. And then...
Why would you turn your back on this man?
I mean, to the credit of the orphan school runner or whatever that guy was, he did question why Sweeney Todd had gone through 7 boys in 7 weeks.
Oh, that is true. I forgot.
But Sweeney Todd just easily brushed it off. Brushed, get it?
Is this Sweeney Todd shop?
Yes, sir. You wish to go
Always
in?
another order.
So do you, I take it? Didn't you want to come in?
I work here, sir, so I have to come in. But I don't wish to.
Oh, and why not?
Because I'm afraid, sir. Afraid of the whole place.
Afraid? Why?
I don't know, sir. Sometimes I think that he...
What do you think?
No, sir, I mustn't say. If I did, Mr. Todd said he would cut my tongue out with one of his razors.
Cut your tongue out? What for?
Because he thought I was spying on him while he was shaving a sea captain.
Sea captain, eh? And were you spying?
No, sir, on my honor. He sent me out to buy a pie. He always does after I finish lavering his customers.
Oh. And when you return, the customers are always gone, eh?
Yes, sir. How did you know?
And after you finish lathering me, he'll send you out to buy another pie, eh?
Yes, I expect so.
What is she? She's
We'll
barely
soon
grabbing
find a
that
fence
one
who
other
knows
arm.
As much as he did. When anybody knows too much, they're better like that.
I agree.
When he sends you out today, how'd you like never to come back?
But what would become of me, sir?
Can you read this address?
Miss Oakley, Finsbury Pavement.
Take that to Miss Oakley and wait there.
Who shall I say sent me?
Say a stranger who put his mark there. Well, if you just say Mark, she'll understand.
Mark, sir?
Yes, Mark. This barber was recommended to me as one who would give you the closest shave.
That's true, Father. Not only the closest shave, but I promise
Yep,
to polish you
definitely
off
looks like
quicker
a
than
farmer.
another barber in London. Will you take a chair, sir?
Thank you.
No, no, not there, sir. The light is better here.
Just as you say, Mr. Todd. I
Everybody
see you are an
always goes to
enthusiast.
the other chair.
Every man to his own trade, I
Instinct.
I love my work, sir.
Yeah, see, look, the implications, man. They're
Yeah.
not so funny, dude. They're not gonna tell you anything.
Oh, rats.
And you sold the lot?
Aye, I didn't know. Every beast as I took to market. Grand prices, too.
You must have made a lot of money.
Over 400 guineas.
Hurry up, Tobias.
I need to get my hands on this loot. I guess a monk disguise is, you know, who's gonna ask questions of a monk, right? Oh no, don't do it!
Don't eat that.
Oh.
Finished, Tobias?
Yes, sir.
Good. Here's a penny for you. You've been a good boy and deserve a little rest. Go and ask Mrs. Lovett to give you
He's
one of
just
her biggest
eyes
pies.
darting
One
left
that'll
and right,
last
left
you
and right.
to St. Pancras Church and back. He's a good boy, that, sir. I think he'll go far.
I hope so, I'm sure.
Now, sir, if you're quite comfortable, I'll polish you off. Let me down, quick! I'm coming, sir. Come on, sir. I've got you, sir.
Damn, it's gotta really have some upper arm strength to hold
Yeah.
yourself upside down like that.
Again?
What the hell?
This chair must be broken.
What do we do next? Get to the quayside quick and get the crew. Come on. Gotta get out of these things quick. What, here? My underclothes are full of holes. Not here, fathead at the quay. Come on.
You call him Fathead?
Yeah, Fathead.
I love that. Fathead.
Who? You know what I mean. The farmer I've just sent down.
I've seen no one.
You're lying to me. I believe you've helped to get him out.
Why should I?
That's what I want to know. You did it yesterday, and you've done it again today.
Not today, I swear I...
Ah, then you did do it yesterday. You ain't. What's your game?
You thought if you could get rid of him safely, you could marry that girl. I'm not jealous. I don't care where you go and who you marry, but you won't take my money with you.
Where you're going, you need no money.
I was told to give you this, miss.
By whom?
A farmer, miss. He said you'd know him by his mark.
His mark?
Yes, miss. He was most particular, I should say, Mark.
Oh, Mark.
Where did you meet him? Outside where I work. Mr. Sweeney Todd's shop.
Sweeney Todd. What was his message?
He said that you'd keep me here so that I shouldn't have to go back to Mr. Todd's anymore. Oh, please, miss, don't send me back again.
No, I'll keep you here. But what happened to the farmer?
He went inside, miss, to get shaved. Oh, miss, now that I'm away from Mr. Todd's, I can say it. There aren't many that Mr. Todd shaves that ever come out again as far as I can see.
Quick, come on.
Quick, Fatty. Get the crew. I'll be waiting for you.
Aye, sir.
Love the set, man. Oh shit. Nice. He's got a little vault.
Hidey hole.
Oh, can I come out now, miss?
Yes?
Oh, miss, do I have to do this for long?
Just till I get back.
Supposing you don't get back.
I will. How do I look?
Much too clean.
Clean. I know, cinder.
Let me do it.
Cinder.
Close your eyes, miss. Look just like a charity boy now, miss.
Well, whatever we do, we've got to do it quick. He'll know he's a scout and go into hiding. Probably take my pearls with him.
That's right.
Oh no, dude.
no.
Oh my god, dude. I love they're not seeing anything about it, right? Look, we all know that guy's eating a human meat pie.
To think of all the murders that have been committed in that shop.
That gives me the creeps when I think of it.
People chucked to their deaths in the cellars below.
I wonder if he buries them, what he does with them.
He wouldn't have room to bury them all there.
Well, what does he do with them?
How do I know?
I love it, dude. It's so good.
Who are you, pray?
I was a boy before this happened.
Well, that's my mistress's frock. Take it off at once. Take it off. Take that off. Give it to me.
Not till I get my clothes back.
Well, where are your clothes?
On your mistress,
Where's she gone?
Mr. Todd's.
She must be mad.
That's what I told her, miss, but she wouldn't listen. You're not going to.
I am.
Oh, bring her back as quick as you can, please.
Can't get out of this dress by myself.
I've got 5 petticoats on under this thing.
I guess he killed Mrs. Lovett?
I guess.
What do you want?
I wondered if you wanted an apprentice, sir.
I've got an apprentice. Be off with you.
Oh, but I've got money. I can pay.
I only want honest, hard-working boys, and I usually get them from the Beadle.
The Beetle.
You
Oh,
look
okay.
fairly honest. Perhaps you'd better come inside. You been here to see me before?
No, sir.
Strange. I must be thinking of somebody else. Where's the guinea?
What shall I do first, sir?
Sweep up the floor.
Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
Give me that. Give me that. I tell you.
Let me go. Let me go.
I'm going to see what you've got in the bag.
To the chair. Oh no. At the closet? Just yep.
There's just bodies all over this place.
Light it up. Let it burn. I love that look, man. Hat, cape, but like working clothes underneath, dude.
Does not match.
Formal and informal all at the same time. That's my kind of wardrobe.
You gotta love when one of these old movies ends with a big fire.
Okay, get in your ear.
It's kind of the only way.
What about her? She's gone to Sweeney Todd's to find you. She thought you were in danger.
He's gone to that madman's place alone, but he's desperate. He'll kill her. Come on, everybody.
Come on, sailors that I have made friends with. You're my crew now. On the streets, not just on the boat. Now on the streets. Now's a really convenient time to sort through your monies. Oh, he knows that necklace. He should know that necklace.
I used to have one just like this.
Better get the fuck out of there, Sweeney. What?
Oh, he's going back.
Yeah. Oh! Sucker punch. That was good, dude.
Clean.
Uh-oh.
Joanna. Joanna.
Help! Help! Help!
What is that man doing kissing that young boy? Oh no, he's gonna burn up. Oh!
Nice. That's how it's got to end, right?
Burning up.
Some say Pearlie was right, some say he wasn't.
You mean about Mrs. Loverton?
Yes, sir.
Is it my imagination, or do you smell cooking?
Yes, sir, it's probably the cooked meat shop next door. Now I'll just put a little keener edge on the razor, sir. For if you'll excuse me saying it, sir, you have a most beautiful throat for the razor. Beautiful.
Great.
Wow.
Great ending.
That was Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. So, what did we think, Evan?
I really enjoyed that. That was such a fun movie.
Right? I think that's the best word for it. It's just fun. It keeps your attention. Tod Slaughter certainly just gives a
Eating it up.
magnetic performance from
Great
beginning to end. You're constantly wanting to see what he's going to do next. And, you know, obviously he's just going to keep giving you what he does best, which is the laugh and the eyes and the smile. And every once in a while I give you some of this. And he's just, I mean, that he is a force to be reckoned with. Like, he is the, you know, this movie obviously, by virtue of the Sweeney Todd story alone, is interesting because it's just it's an interesting story. But he is what makes the movie. He's the coup de grace, right? Like, he is why it's so interesting, and he kills it. So, you know.
Yeah, there's just something about the creepy barber.
And he plays creepy really well.
Very.
I mean, he just exudes creepy, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to say it.
It all worked out in the end. Wouldn't it be nice if the people who you owed money to just all burned?
Turned out to be psychopaths who rightfully burn up to death. Yeah, I think that would be.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think that would mean that there's justice in the world, and that but the world doesn't work like that. The universe doesn't work like that, unfortunately.
Yeah, poor Tobias. He's out of a job now.
Well, yes, but hopefully they'll take him on at
He's gonna apprentice at the
with the sea captain or whatever he
chimney
is.
sweep
Yeah,
or
I don't know. He'll get work. He'll be fine. He deserves some kind of reward. I mean, again, it was cool to see him go up in a fiery, you know, a fiery flame of glory, you know, just like all the great, you know, I mean, again, you think about Frankenstein, the ending of the original Frankenstein.
Fire.
Any horror movie afterwards, it's just kind of a easy way to dispose of your monster, but it also is powerful. I mean, it worked, you know.
I mean, if you're going for drama, what's more dramatic than a huge fire?
Fire, nothing.
Back then.
Nothing. And I mean, yeah, this was just a pretty solid adaptation. Again, I don't know how Sweeney Todd does the musical end with a fire?
You know, I don't actually remember how it ends.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely don't know.
Yeah.
But again, a fire is just for a horror movie. It's a great way to end a horror movie. But I think that would lead me to ask, would you classify this as a horror movie? How do you feel? Like, do you think that Tod
so
Slaughter
cre-
is a horror man on par with Lugosi and Karloff?
I mean, I think that he has the chops. If they put a little more makeup on him, he could definitely be a monster. He's certainly monstrous tonight.
That's the thing, though. He is monstrous without ever being a monster. That's the thing. He's never just like, even in the face of the window where there's a wolf man. I don't think it's him in the makeup. He just wasn't that kind of. Again, I mean, Lugosi wasn't crazy about makeup, but I think Tod Slaughter was just kind of. I play these villains. I don't need any makeup. I just kind of exude evilness.
Yeah.
And he definitely did. I mean, he runs away with the movie. And I mean, happy ending, but I think my favorite part has to be the way that they just imply what's going on with the pies. That really
It's subtle, but it's nice that they don't have to beat you over the head with it.
No, they don't. It's honestly more unsettling when everybody's dancing around what it could be.
Yeah.
And there's a guy just right there just chomping into a pie. I don't know what these could be made of. And it's like they know that we know what it's. Yeah, there's cleverness. There's a depth to the writing and the filmmaking here that, like you said, obviously they know, like the general audience that's going to be seeing this is familiar with the story to know what these pies are made of. They know that it's made of the bodies of the people that he's gaining these riches from. And that's just the kind of the whole macabre thing about the story, but it is, I don't know. It's cool to see it in an early movie. It's just it was definitely effective, I thought. So bravo to Tod Slaughter and
definitely MVP, ran away with it tonight.
Oh my God. I mean, he as a horror star definitely, I think he has some credibility, and I'm glad that we'll get to see more of his films down the road because he obviously is magnetic. He like grabs your attention, and he, Sweeney Todd is just an interesting character to begin with, but he had a talent for these kind of villains. So we'll see down the road. We'll get to see more of Tod Slaughter doing his thing, but this was a nice introduction. I think it was a nice way to break into it. And again, for Shocktober, just the Sweeney Todd story, the whole thing of meat pie, murder, cannibal meat pies, whatever you want to call it. I mean, there is just so much power in not revealing that, I thought, tonight. Like, I can't get over that, honestly.
It takes a lot of restraint, It's like if you have a monster movie, the monster movies that don't show the monster, it's that kind of similar, the restraint, but it does make it like it's just unsettling that it's there, it's there in the background.
You're 100% right. It is, again, Jaws is kind of the famous example, but yeah, I mean, it's what you don't show, and restraint is the word. And it's kind of funny that I think it was more out of we were talking earlier about how this film was called a quote a quickie, right? It's kind of funny, like, basically censorship in Britain, in the UK, for movies has always been kind of problematic. We talked about when we watched The Driller Killer, we talked about video nasties and the whole British censorship issues of the late 70s, early 80s. But going back to the 30s, they had a problem with horror movies in general. Now, I read an article today that basically said that it's kind of been overblown, the British reaction to horror movies, because basically the American press twisted it so that it seemed like the British wanted to ban horror movies and the horror movies coming out of America. But
the press was going for something sensationalist?
What? Shocking. But it was all kind of generated by Joseph Breen, the guy that came up with the production code, which we've talked about the production code with pre-code horror movies, right? He just did. Horror movies were problematic for his job anyway. They were constantly having to give notes about things they felt like needed to be changed with horror movies. So they kind of leaned into the fact that in Britain, they had the rating H for horrific. And usually if you got the H, it was kind of hard to like get distributed wide and get like, get a good audience for your movie, because in Britain at the time, there were a lot of local censorship boards. So they could just say, oh, if you have H, we don't want to show this movie here. So
like getting an NC-17.
Yeah, basically it was the same thing. And they like didn't really it wasn't really like they were banning horror movies, but every once in a while a certain movie would be like, I think The Vampire Bat, which we opened this season with, had like a bunch of cuts, and it was like they cut a bunch of stuff out of it and it was still rated H for horrific. And so it was just like, it was kind of a thing that if you went explicit with the horror, that there were either going to be cuts or your movie wouldn't be shown. So the US censorship people twisted that as an excuse to say, horror movies are being banned, you just shouldn't even make them. So there was like basically a lull in horror movie filmmaking from like 1936 to 1939. And it was because the US kind of twisted what was going on in the UK to say, oh, well, they're going to ban horror movies, so just don't make them.
Interesting.
But these were the movies that were being made, and they're horror, right? Like there's horror in this, but you can tell that they're avoiding the explicit stuff that would maybe get you an H.
Okay, so that's why they're avoiding the rating. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I wanted to make sure that that I got that point out. I realized I didn't communicate it earlier, but yeah, I mean, you to question why so much is implied in the Sweeney Todd story, which we all know, it's like they played to it in a clever way, but also there was kind of a reason why they had to. They couldn't say, "Oh, you're eating human bodies." Like an American movie may like go a little closer to saying that, but they realized they couldn't do it, and you already have the cloak of being a Victorian era thing, so it's a little, oh, this isn't modern horror, this isn't happening now, this is an old time story, so you have a lot,
except for the framing device.
Yeah, right, which a little hokey, but still. And all of the Tod Slaughter horror movies from this time have some kind of framing device like that, or more generic, kind of like the cartoon we saw tonight where they introduced the characters, like here's the villain, here's Tod Slaughter, and he's like yeah. So yeah, this is our introduction into the whole world of British horror movies from the 30s, because again, a lot of people, when they think of British horror movies, they go to Hammer horror, which started in the mid 50s, like right around the time that Tod Slaughter passed away. So it's kind of, again, he bridges the gap from kind of the advent of sound and horror movies in Britain. Like, if you don't think that British horror movies were a thing in the 30s, They were just more melodramas starring Tod Slaughter. Occasionally, they made some horror movies here and there. There's a great one with Boris Karloff called The Ghoul, which we will get to watch on this show because it is public domain. I love it, and it is definitely a horror movie. But they just didn't lean into the out-and-out horror very often. They kind of mixed in melodrama and all these things. So we got an interesting movie out of it. Again, kind of wall-to-wall entertaining, and Tod Slaughter was great. So, yeah, glad to share that with you guys, and a great movie to kick off Shocktober. And I've had to raise the bar for next week because we're in Shocktober. But I don't know if you guys are aware of this, Evan, and you out there in Scream Stream land, but next Friday is October, Friday the 13th.
The spookiest day of the year.
By far the spookiest day of the year. Friday the 13th in October. We always love to celebrate Friday the 13th on this show. I like to give some kind of a slasher film, usually pay homage to the titular Friday the 13th. But it's kind of hard when you have a show of public domain horror movies to find things that are really slashery gory. But lucky for you guys, I was able to find the one thing that is closest to a early splatter film that that unfortunately isn't Herschel Gordon Lewis. Herschel Gordon Lewis is the king of splatter films. None of his movies are public domain. This that we're going to watch on this Friday the 13th is like the best movie that he never made, right?
Okay.
Like, he was known for making these color movies that were the first splatter films. Tons of gore, like people getting their tongues cut out, arms cut off, things like that. Because the code, which we were just talking about, broke down. So as soon as the code broke down, he realized,
Open the floodgates.
Yeah, he's like, oh, there's a hole in the market here for these kind of movies. So what we have is a movie like that, but it's just not a Herschel Gordon Lewis movie, and it's more of an out-and-out horror comedy. And so next Friday we're going to be watching the 1966 horror comedy The Undertaker and His Pals, which is, you can tell just in the title, kind of ridiculous. And
kind of a wrestling side story, if you will.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like what if The Undertaker decided to go on a road trip with his buddies one summer instead of going to WrestleMania? Like that's basically what you're getting here. It's actually,
and then they all get stabbed.
Yeah, well, I mean that goes without saying. No, there's a lot of gore, or not a lot, but there's gore in this at a time where you didn't normally get gore. But there's also a lot of like gags, like really hit and miss gags. Okay. Like it's not great, but just like I haven't seen it. But I have seen the opening scene and like preparing the movie for the show enough to know that like one of the first gags they use I've seen in earlier movies, but I do love the gag. It's, it's you'll see it, but it's basically just a lot of really like hit or miss gags with really kind of shocking gore spliced in. So
wow. Okay. Well.
So I think it's a good movie for Friday the 13th.
Sounds like a treat.
I think, yeah. I that's what I was hoping, that it'd be a real treat. I think it will be. So you can join us next Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern for The Undertaker and His Pals, Friday the 13th feature. It's going to be a tale of terror like no other. And as part of Shocktober, we're gonna be We won't be here tomorrow evening, but we will be showing some of our past films from the stream, just
very nice
by themselves. If you find yourselves bored looking for something horrific to watch,
want something to put on in the background.
something in the back, which this show is always good for. But even if
we're
we're
always
not
in the background,
and if we're here, especially is good for the background. But even if we aren't here, you can put it on in the background. But every Saturday night this October, we're going to be showing, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a double feature.
Okay, so what's playing?
I haven't decided yet. I have
TBD.
I have picked all the movies I want to show. I just haven't decided what I'm going to start with tomorrow. And that's on me. I should have already picked.
The mystery.
But it's a surprise. So we're going to have two horror movies tomorrow night. And I mean, we won't be on here, but I may pop in the chat. And if we're not here, by all means, go crazy in the chat. I mean, the whole point of this show is to just be hanging out with your friends watching a movie. That's what us taught. It's, what it's supposed to simulate.
Yeah.
So
riff it up in the chat.
Do it up big time tomorrow night when we show whatever we're going to show. I still don't know yet, but trust me, it's going to be something horrific and a good thing for this time of year, because we are in the heart of spooky season. So thanks everybody so much for tuning in tonight. S-Sync, Sweet Feet, Fresh Rogan, Sleepy Steve, everybody who tuned in this evening. Evan, of course, thank you as always for being here. Good to have you back.
Good to be back.
And we will, of course, be back on Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern for another exciting episode of 13 Demon Street.
Been really good so far.
It has. Where do you,
been
not to go into it too much, but compared to the other horror TV anthologies that we've watched, I mean...
this one's, it's up there. This one, probably my favorite, honestly.
I mean, it's not always great television, but it tries some things with its stories. It's surprises you most of the time.
It does, yeah. It's surprisingly good, so check it out.
So definitely check that out. So we'll be here on Wednesday at 9 p.m. with a new episode of that, and then next Friday again with The Undertaker and his pals. So of course, if you want to keep up with any of that, if you didn't catch those times or what we're watching, you can find all that out over on our Instagram page. You can find us over there at Scream Stream Show. Also, once we have the cocktail for next week's episode, we'll have that over there as well. Again, Scream Stream Show. We're also over on X and TikTok at Scream Stream Show. You can find us and all of our past episodes over on YouTube at Scream Stream Live. This is the time of the year. I mean, we have done 65 other movies. Now, you won't find all 65 of those on our YouTube page. You'll find about 62-ish, 61. But we have done zombie movies, vampire movies, Frankenstein movies. We've done it all.
We've done it all by now.
You want to find something, obviously the episodes are a product of the evolution of the show. Sometimes the audio doesn't always work out. Sometimes there's echoes. Sometimes there's plenty of technical difficulties. Again, we were dealing with the Caligari curse for a long time.
But you can chart our progress over the season.
It is fun to do. So you can find all of those past episodes over at Scream Stream Live. Please go over there, subscribe. Please subscribe. I'm begging on my hands and knees. No, I do.
Need it.
We do.
It does help us out.
It really does help us out. I mean, I know we get a lot of people who watch the show who don't subscribe, and so if you just go and click,
give us a little click.
The we appreciate it. We really do. So, and just everybody that tunes in, especially on the live episodes, keep tuning in live, please. This is what the show is about. It's about hanging out together with you guys, making jokes, making the experience kind of interactive as possible. So please tune in on these Fridays, on these Wednesdays, even on Saturday. We won't be here, but hey, keep the chat alive. Keep it going. So we appreciate all the support that we've had, and let's keep it going through October. So anything before we sign off tonight, Evan?
I just want to congratulate us on, we hit a milestone this week.
Oh, we did.
We did. Our show has now been around longer, running longer than a U.S. Speaker of the House of Representatives. So
yeah.
Congratulations for us.
You gotta give us a little golf clap for that. I mean, come on.
And we'll outlast the next one.
And say what you will about this show. Criticize us for talking over the movie all you want. At least we're more stable than the United States government. On that note, sweet screams, everybody.
And to all a good fright.